This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Oh, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Back of the net.
It didn't happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
A modern day football miracle. They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016, the amazing Leicester City.
Leicester Till I Die TV. Your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right there, how the devil are we all? It's probably Colesberg. It's probably it is, to my mind, one of the biggest weeks in Leicester City's history. Definitely this season. This is a season-defining week. Oh, this is Leicester Till I Die TV. Good evening. Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, please remember, give us a subscribe, hit those like buttons and the notification as well, and you will never miss a show. Thank you, very glad. How are we all? You know what? I'm not 21 anymore. I don't think that's probably a secret, but when you support a team like Leicester, they're not a glam team. I just think what we have achieved after Vichai and Top came into this club, you think we've probably done as much as we can do. We are in a European semi-final. It's a bad season. Yeah, this has gone wrong and that's gone wrong. But would you ever have said we would not? And it's not obviously the trophy one, or the competition we want to be in. But just think about that for a second. We are in a European semi-final. You've got to pinch yourself sometimes, haven't you? Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're listening on your favourite podcast station, thank you very much.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
Good evening, Brad. How are you feeling?
Evening, mate. First of all, I'm feeling all right. Feeling chilled. Probably some fans out there are probably envious of the fact that I can be so chilled when it's closing in on it.
Me for one.
Yeah,
and I'm sure we can add Scott to that list. Personally, he's bricking it.
The thing is, you've got to enjoy it as fans. We say this sometimes about players, that we've talked about, most notably in terms of player terms, we've talked about it with Yuri saying you got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy these occasions because, like you said, we've had a bit of a rotten season, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we've been awful all season. We've just been very unfortunate in some games. We've had some weird moments with tactics and whatnot that have gone right, and we've probably been one of the worst sufferers post coming out of COVID and having fans back in the ground in terms of having an available 11 fit to us. So it's not been the worst of all seasons, not by a country mile. We've had relegation, we've had League One, we've had struggles in the championships. So just enjoy it at the end of the day, because like you said, this is our first time, and I don't want to remember it as a nervous wreck that sat on the toilet for 90 plus minutes in both legs. I want to enjoy it and just embrace whatever happens.
Is it me? I find it easier to watch a game when I'm at the stadium, whereas when I'm at home and we're 1-0 up with like 5 minutes to go, I'm pacing up and down the hallway. I'm in different bedrooms. I make anything not to look at the telly and see us concede a late goal. But no, Spencer says here, good evening, Spencer. Hope you are well. Thank you very much. It's been a long time since anybody said that to me, but apparently it's going to be a biggie. I mean, I don't care that it's a conference. There are 16 other teams in this league that would swap places with us right now, and I'm including Man United and Arsenal and Spurs.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And again, tired point we've made. You look at the teams that are left in this competition, and we're left in the quarterfinals. 90% of which have had Champions League experience. We're talking, there's the same disrespect that the Europa League gets. I know this is bare from in the Europa League, but that gets the same disrespect. And you look at the teams that are in that now, they've had European success. I don't know the complete histories. I don't know if West Ham have ever competed on the Champions League front. Someone else might have informed me.
They've been in a European final, I think, of some description, but
but not for a long time. But again, they've been in Europe, so they're very well experienced in the competition, even if it's just their history, even if it's not, So every competition, Roma would not look at Roma and Marseille, who are the two semi-finalists in this. That have a great history, would not look out of place in a Europa League or a Champions League semi-final.
In the quarterfinals, apart from I just like saying it, blooded limped. Every one of those other teams at some point had been in Europe's top competition. Yeah. Luca, good evening, sir. Just then, Luca, before you came in, and let me know in the chat, would you swap places with Leicester right now? As in being in a semi-final of a European competition, even though it's the conference. Be interested to see what you say. John Wayne, hello, sir. How the devil are you? Hope you are well on this Tuesday, I believe it is.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Just wanted to check. It is Tuesday. I found a new website. I'm not one of those. It's not this one. And nobody pretend they don't know what that music is, because you all know what it is. Need all Brighton Thunder Rocket to make a hole in the net, says Scott. Yes, we do. We do. I mean, like I say, if we go out at the semi-final stage, I'm not saying we will, of course, but it will be disappointing. But we've just got to accept that, did we ever think, if you go back, just under 10 years, did you ever think we'd be in a semi-final of a European competition?
No, but then again, I couldn't have fathomed us 10 years ago doing what we've gone to do in them 10 years, whether that's dropping down or playing in the championship or bouncing up and, winning the division, winning the, getting to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, winning the FA Cup. I wouldn't have fathomed any of them being possible, if I'm being honest. Other than optimistically looking at a chance to maybe go far in like a Carabao Cup, and kind of reminisce the old O'Neill days with like a League Cup run and a top 9 finish. which is no mean feat to do in this Premiership division. We've seen teams up here now that are right down at the bottom. I mean, look at Everton and Leeds. We're talking about two big, well, history prevailed big clubs. I wouldn't say, big in terms of what they've won, successful wise, but that old age debate, what defines a big club, but they're looking and staring down the barrel of going down. I'd have been very happy if you'd have said to me without knowing the information, Brad, Leicester's return to Premiership, ninth every season and a decent chance in the League Cup. I'd have taken it because I enjoyed watching the 90s. So, no, I couldn't fathom it, mate. Didn't seem logical.
It is weird. It is weird. Thanks, Luca. I have been rushing today. I've had one of those days today, and I had just copied and pasted PSV versus Leicester rather than updating it. I got the semi-final bit right, and I forgot to knock PSV off the start. Thanks, Luca, for pointing that out. So let's have a look at some of the details here of this weekend's game. We're up against José Mourinho. Is that? I mean, I'm personally, if I'm brutally honest with you, we know what we're going to get from a Jose team. We know him. We know the way he plays. We've got him sacked a few times. I'd sooner be playing Roma than Blod Glimt. I don't know about you.
I mean, yeah, I would. Because I didn't realise this, and I knew there was in the mix in the league. And if you look at it, I mean, they're people might not like it, the fact that Leicester are sat in ninth and not realistically able to challenge for like a European spot via the league. And I think that might actually benefit Leicester because Roma's season, and Chris, they're sitting fifth in the league right now, currently sat in there in the Serie A Europa League spot. Which, of course, if they win this competition, like Leicester, if they win it, they'll get that automatically anyway. And you might think that they're putting all their eggs into Europa League. They played 34 games, though, Chris, on 58 points. Fiorentina have played 33 games and have 56 points. So they could dropped down to what would be the Europa Conference spot in that league, which, again, would mean they're back in this competition, but they would want to be in the competition above, which is Europa League. So you then look at that. In seventh, Lazio have also played 34 games, but are only 2 points off as well with 56. And even Atlanta down in eighth, who have 54 points and are 4 points below them, but they also have, like Fiorentina, have a game in hand. And tonight, I believe, or tomorrow it is, Fiorentina play Udinese. So before this game, Jose Mourinho's Roma could be hanging on to a European spot themselves. They're kind of the Manchester United of Serie A because they're not getting Champions League. They're a mile off Juventus. And if they're a mile off Juventus, they're certainly not catching either of the Milan clubs for a late title dash. So they've still got a lot to play for and fight on. And, I believe they've even got one of the teams I've just mentioned in their last 4 games. So they could end up really struggling if they get knocked out of this. I would say there's more pressure on Mourinho to guarantee them European football and get it through the league than there is on Brendan Rodgers, because Leicester fans have almost accepted, and I think it's right to accept, that we're not going to get it through the league.
No, we're not. Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure on Roma, and he's got to manage his squad. And just quickly here, Chris, they've got a temperament. I know he returned for 20 minutes and didn't do much against Villa, but Jamie Vardy will have a few targets in there. If you want to, they've got a very big collection of yellow cards for a few key players in their squad as well. So they're quite temperamental on that pitch. So Leicester have got every reason to be thinking they can beat this Roma side, because I don't think their fans know what's more important to them. At least as Leicester fans, in the nicest way, have the majority of them are probably going, well, at least if we can give our full focus to this competition, we haven't got anything to distract us in the league, we can just do what we can in the league and finish as high as we can. But essentially, we're not doing, like the last 2 seasons, I think we had that distraction. We saw how it affected us in the Europa League in the knockout stages. This season, we don't have that. Right or wrong, Leicester can throw all their concentration to this game, whereas Roma still have to prepare for very, very key league games. I mean, like I said before, their players, they could be sat hanging on to a European spot in Serie A. So,
do you think that, and I found myself doing this a lot of the time, there's a couple of teams that we like, Eindhoven and another one, not Eindhoven, but a couple of teams that we'd actually played when we were in the Champions League that weren't in there anymore. But do you sometimes think we play the name rather than playing the team?
I think sometimes you can, and I think sometimes as fans we do that. We kind of, and it's more understandable with fans, especially when you've grown up and all you've seen outside of your league's competition is the Real Madrids and the Barcelona's doing well. The AC Milan's had a phenomenal squad in the 90s and 2000s. The Juventus, and if you suddenly realise you've not drawn a, with the greatest respect, you've not drawn a I can't think of a team outside the top 8 here. So let's say you've got Lazio, who have fallen off a cliff in years, but you know, you maybe get that misconception. You think, oh, that's going to be well hard. Leicester ain't going to win that. Be great. We kind of had that impetus around the Seville game, the Atletico game, when we got to teams that are more recognisable and had a bigger stature. I think sometimes as fans get more into it. You can't do that as a player, though. You can't just look at Roma and Jose Mourinho and go, oh, we're doomed. Because if we do that, we might as well not bother turn up for Thursday.
Yes, yeah. Spencer will be coming on to a team later on, so stay tuned. Rice said he would definitely start him. But when you look at this, there's a huge gap in the UEFA rankings. But of course, that's not just on this season, No. And if UEFA get their way, teams like Roma will probably be able to qualify like Man United and Arsenal for the Champions League because of what they've done in the past. Again, we have this talk about figures and stats every week, don't we, Brad? You can read too much into them sometimes. But the interesting one I did want to actually look at was I think it was about a week ago, when I did, it was last Thursday actually, I did a semi-finals preview, and there was myself, a West Ham fan, a Liverpool fan, and a Man City fan. We went through all the semi-finals, and when it came to the who will win each of the competitions, we were well ahead in the votes for for the conference, but that has changed quite drastically. We're now. You've got Feyenoord and Roma are the favourite. Well, not the favourites. This is what people have been voting for. And I know it's probably people, I want on and I just voted Leicester because it's Leicester. Do you know what I mean? So there's a bit of that like on the BBC when you're voting for your man of the match. But I think you can't write Marseille off.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised to see such a drop-off in gap between Marseille and the rest of us. I mean, 30%. 29%. You're splitting hairs there, really. I mean, obviously, presidential election, you've got a tie, but in this sort of case, of fans' opinion, it's very, very even. Maybe I'm just kind of trying to figure a way why Marseille are so low down. That maybe the French support is more focused on the PSGs, and they don't really. Maybe they're one of the countries that don't really look at this well enough. I don't know, because I'm very surprised, because again, you're talking the reason probably the likes of Roma and Marseille definitely, and probably even Feyenoord, I'd imagine, are probably way higher up in the rankings of this of European competitions than Leicester, is because these are clubs that are used to playing at a lot higher level. So I don't understand why they're so far down. I don't know. Maybe there's a crisis there. Maybe there's something going on. But
maybe just the fans just haven't gone onto the page and found it. That's the thing.
Go on.
No, Brad, I will pass this over to you. Scott's asking here, just a thought, does this semi-final become the Ranieri final? Well, it's a semi-final anyway, Scott. You've confused me a little bit there.
Yeah,
but I know what he's getting at. Ranieri's managed both teams, hasn't he? But
yeah, but no, I don't get why you'd call that the Ranieri final. I don't like it when fans try and link things together out of like that, because then if that's the case, then it's the Cengiz Under semi-final.
Yes.
Isn't it? It's the Cengiz Under semi-final because he played for that.
Yeah.
Or it's the Italian Chelsea versus Leicester. You know what I mean? You could say that with some of the players they've got
Chelsea
on their manager.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. This is how we qualified. Third in the UEFA Europa League Group C, winning 2, drawing 2, losing 2. And then obviously we beat 7-2. That always looks good against Randers. Beating Rennes 3-2. That was when I started to think, maybe we can do this, because it was 0-0, what have you, after the first leg. Last season, let's not talk about it. And that's our UEFA Cup Europa League best. We've obviously done better in the Premier League. But when we were saying before about are we building Roma up to be better than I think they are, just have a look at this. Yes, they're ranked 11, but how did they qualify? They qualified as winners of the conference group they were in. So they didn't even make it into the Europa League.
Yeah, again, people may have instantly saw this tie come out as neutrals, and maybe, or even maybe someone who remembers the yesteryears of the foreign leagues as an English fan, and maybe just saw the name Roma, like you said, and went, "Oh, that's going to be tough." But then we realised, if you probably look at their league status, what they've achieved, I couldn't find much that won recently. You'd probably say PSV would be a harder task than Roma on paper. Yeah. In namesake, you instantly think of Roma because of the league they're in and what they've been able, and the sort of players that we remember to have. But PSV are probably a much tougher and a lot more successful in recent years club than Roma themselves. And you'd fancy, had PSV got Roma, I think you'd find that I also think maybe the manager's name is a bit of a pull, because I don't think if Jose Mourinho's managing them, I think if Tim Sherwood's in charge of this club, they're probably going to get knocked out by Bogle 8-0 because he's crap. But my point still stands.
No, I agree totally. Rob says here, Forshmeyer, West Ham. Good evening, Chris. Good luck in your semi. Bring the trophy to Leicester. Come on, you foxes, and good luck to West Ham as well against Frankfurt on the same night. So fingers crossed for both of us. And you got to. No, I don't mind West Ham. They're not one of the teams I particularly hate. But as I always say, if Leicester aren't going to be the team that breaks the top 6 monopoly on a regular basis, then I'd love it to be, I want somebody to do it. And obviously West Ham have been the one this season that have looked most likely. But good luck. We're 180 minutes away from a European final. At some point, I think pinching yourself becomes self-abuse, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, unless this is a funny fact, apparent fact that I've heard, unless you're pinching yourself on your elbow, you won't feel it. So you can't self-abuse if you have to pinch yourself on your elbow. So maybe give that a go.
I'll try that. You are a purveyor of very obscure facts.
I do like to, mate.
Like we said, we're discussing form there. What you see there isn't just league form. That is actually, as it says there, including the last games that we played in this competition. It's pretty even, isn't it?
It is pretty even, and that draw was quite a notable draw because they were down to 10 men against Napoli and got a goal in the 91st minute. So it proves that they can dig in when the occasions have to. And namesake, or whether it's his son, I think he is his son or something like that. But Gianluca Maldini tops the charts with 14 yellows, and Zaniolo has 11, and 2 red cards. So he's joint 5th on the yellow cards and joint top of that. So they've probably had some experience of digging in with less men on the pitch. So, but then they got put to the sword by Inter Milan. So they're probably grateful though, because they haven't played a league game or a game of any competition, to my knowledge, since the 18th. So we're kind of facing an Aston Villa situation where they've gonna have a few weeks without a game, and obviously Leicester have had that turnaround from Sunday, from the game against Villa, on Saturday. It was a 3:00 kickoff, and I thought they were myths. So I just so unused to them.
I know. We've got 2 in a row.
Yeah, but the difference is for this one, people might say that might benefit Roma because I've had longer to prepare for it. But to get yourself into gear and come out the blocks flying in a semi-final of any competition, I actually think it's going to benefit Leicester. The fact that they've played on Saturday, not on a Sunday. They'll be playing on a.
We played
Thursday.
Saturday as well, didn't we? Oh no, did we?
Pardon?
Yeah, we played Saturday as well, didn't we?
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is Leicester played on a Saturday, so they'd have had a longer break than usual because we have been playing on a Sunday.
Sorry. Yes.
So Leicester will be keeping themselves match fit and ready, and like I said, Roma haven't played since the 18th. So whilst they've had longer to maybe prepare and rest, you need that game time. And I don't know if they've planned any behind closed doors friendlies to get prepared for it or whatever. But this might just benefit Leicester that they're taking match fitness into this, whereas Roma have had a bit longer break without game planning. And, having the game at home could all benefit Leicester if they could get at them easy. And, I know we'll get on to it, but with Vardy and what I'd be asking a few players, fans might not like it, but I'd be asking a few players, given their disciplinary record, maybe wind them up a bit. Because they do it to us. If we had a bad,
I was going to say that's literally. You'd think we'd almost plan this. That literally needs me very nicely. I mean, Andrew says there. Good evening, Andrew. We're going to have to bring our A game. Of course, we are. It's a semi-final. And Geordie, good evening, sir. How the devil are you? I was just watching John's channel earlier. Come on, Leicester. Let's see you win the cup. It would be very nice. Thank you very much, Geordie. Yeah, I was going to say, yes, they've obviously got that temperament, but they're Italians, and we know what Italians are like. They pull your shirt and try and strangle you if they think they can get away with it. Oh, they did, didn't they? Sorry, I forgot that. But we've got, a lot of young players there, and we haven't really come up against the side that has played that way. I mean, a lot of European sides do, but the Italians in particular, they know when to go down, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And, they're very good at it, unfortunately. I've had this debate. I hate it because the thing is now you're finding that the coaches are being told to teach the youngsters it. It's not a case of bad coaching, but they're told, look, we want, I've even heard some coaches say, we want our kids to be honest, but they don't get the decisions. And again, whole different show we could talk about probably in the off season. I think we've rattled the idea around about how to improve that situation. Yeah. But they do know how to do it. But these aren't the best at getting away with it. I mean, 25 yellow cards between 2 of their players, and 27 in total with the 2 red cards to Zaniolo. I'm going to butcher that name as many times as I can, apparently. It's not for good reading, and if these referees have half a brain cell and switch them on, or maybe we have a ref from that league over in Italy, they're not going to get away with it. And again, I know we're going to do a lineup, but somebody like Vardy, or if someone's got that attitude and that ability to get underneath a player's skin, because the Italians are also very flary, aren't they? They're very easy. All you have to do is mention the mother. Oh, sorry, Dan. Yeah, that's French. Sorry. But all you have to do is offend them or get under their skin a little bit. Because they've got, Vardy acted on it against Nasri, didn't he, a little bit? Yes, the head lent in and he would have probably got sent off anyway because he did, But if someone like that you need a character like that, and Mourinho will probably be warning his players not to get involved, not to listen to what's being said. But if Leicester can do that, early goal, get in them, get them rattled, there is opportune to make sure that the worst play actors in Serie A get punished further this season.
quite right. I'm just actually, because UEFA last time, they were very kind, and they sort of put up what could happen to who could be missing games, who's on like up to the limit on the yellow cards, etc. And I'm just trying to find, and of course they give it for the Champions League. Let me just see if I. Oh, wait a minute. Kostas Monolas at AS Roma. Now I've no idea who the hell that is. Kostas Manolos, AS Roma, is a defender. He's a Greek defender. Who knew? In the 6 appearances he made for the Italian side in the AS Roma in the Champions League. I bet this isn't even an up-to-date one.
Doesn't sound like it, mate. Because I was going to say,
does it? No. But anyway, they haven't done that. But it would be interesting to see who is close to that. I've forgotten what we're going to say now. That. So, but I hope Brendan will have a word with the youngsters and say, look, don't get drawn into arguments. Don't retaliate, because the referee, in fact, all the officials are Spanish.
Well, who did he hate more?
We've got experience of a certain. Was it a Spanish referee before that? When we played, no, it couldn't have been because we played Atletico, didn't we? So it couldn't have been
wasn't that a Greek official? That was
I think that was Belgian, wasn't it?
I don't know. Someone in the comments were on about for those that might not know, and for a younger age. I mean, I vaguely remember it because I watched the VHS tapes and that. UEFA Cup second leg, Leicester versus Atletico Madrid in the qualifying rounds. It was a game that Martin O'Neill got a clip round the ear for, but I would have praised him for it because he said he felt the whole game was fudged because Leicester were denied 4 clear-cut penalties, and that ref was so bad he never refed in Europe again. Could someone find that game, go to the referee and tell us his nationality? Because I think he was actually Greek or something like that. I could be wrong. I remember it was
Belgian, but I do know that.
Well, he was waffling crap all game, weren't he?
Yeah, it was actually. I think he was actually found. The reason he didn't referee again because he was found guilty of taking bribes.
Yeah, but we never got our place in the next round or a rematch of that second leg, did we? We never got to replay it.
I know Atletico Madrid all got sort of punished as well. Richard, good evening, sir. How are you? Thank you so much. It means a lot, and good luck to the old bubbles as well. I hope you don't get burst too much in the first leg. And it would be nice to see an English team win every cup this season, wouldn't it?
I couldn't give a monkeys if Liverpool, Man City don't win it. In fact, I want Real Madrid to win it for the disrespect they've been getting for the last few years. Because people seem to think because they've not won it in a few years that all of a sudden Real Madrid are this B-Tech side to what they used to be, because they don't have a Figo, a Raúls, and the Ronaldos that they've been blessed with. But Real Benzema to put Bottle Job FC out of it tonight in this leg, I reckon they'll beat them. But
we will see. We usually have a thing called the Daily Tottenham. I think you may have seen the updated version of it.
It's time for the Daily Manchester United.
Nine years, 6 days, 19 hours, 38 minutes, 8, 9, 10 seconds since Manchester United have won the Premier League. And I think it could go on a little bit longer as well.
I'll tell you what, you could do a tally chart for them for how many days is it going to be till they sack the manager, because they've had 3 this season. Is Watford owners stuck in the back door and kick the Glazers out?
I wonder whether they decided that this Watford model is good, Rai said he was Swedish. Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
I knew he was like some weird, not weird nation, but, some lower rank nation in terms of...
the Swedish weird?
Well, I mean,
I know.
You've been to IKEA, haven't you?
Yes.
It's about as much as my Swedish and the meatballs is about as much as I know about the country. I was more thinking in terms of...
But they do have nice meatballs. And take that any way you want to. Take that any way you want to. Right, let's have a look at what will happen, because we know where the squad's going to be rotated. Had I been looking at this game purely on the Villa result at the weekend, I probably would be bricking it because we were so awful. But I look at how we played against PSV, and that gives me hope. But we do know there's going to be changes. So, and I'm not going to have any say in this, Brad. You're going to do it. It's going to be your team, and how you think and who you think we should play in the first leg. You know, taking everything into account, who's been playing, who's not been playing, etc. What formation would you like?
I'd like to remember that Mendy's not available for it, and I don't think Chowdhury's going to play. So
he's in the squad. Scott was just asking. I think Chowdhury is in the European squad.
No, I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't see Chowdhury playing in this. So I think it'll be a 4-3. I'm going to go 4-3-3. I know it sounds a bit Brendan-esque, but I can't see the change. I was toying between 4-3-3 and a 4-3-1-2, but I could he's not going to play two strikers. I've given up on that dream. So
yes, he might do fooling us. He might be playing mind games. And no, he's not,
if he is, then he better figure out which mind he's using, because sometimes it baffles me.
No, we've got a difference of opinion here. Rice says the ref was Swedish. Andrew says he was French.
God, wow, Jesus, we'll never get there.
English anyway. We know that much. And he was banned. He was banned. Rai says, that's his team that he's put up there. So he's gone Casper, Castagna, Evans, Fafana, Ricardo. So he's got, I think, 4 at the back. Yuri, KDH, Maddis, Barnes, Vardy, Luckman. That's interesting. But let us see what the man in the know. So I think we know we're going to be starting with Schmeichel, don't we?
No, mate. This game's got Danny Ward written all over it. Yeah, Casper, mate. Casper.
I'd give you Pokovic a game. He's a loyal
servant.
Mate,
he's in the midfield. Just wait.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I didn't think about that formation. On the left back.
I think he's got to go for pace at this to exploit Roma. People might be thinking Castagna to shore it up, but we've got one of the surest left back and right back one of the most versatile and surest wing backs in the Premier League, in my opinion. It's going to be JJ for me
at left back.
Yes,
right.
I just can't see Thomas playing there, and I think he'll want to be a bit more.
You don't think he'd go for Castagna?
No, I don't. I think he wants someone to be a bit more, someone who can do the defensive job, but then can also get forward quicker. I think Castagna can't do that on the left. He doesn't feel as comfortable on the left. And I just wouldn't play him on the left to try and be a forward-thinking left back.
Okay, well, no, this is your team, and that might fool Jose as well. So if JJ is going on the left, who are we having at right back?
We're having Ricardo Pereira.
Right.
Again, for the same reason, he's a bit more conventional, a bit more versatile. You notice sometimes he likes to drive from the byline and go in. I like that a bit more about him. And I think these defensive-minded players like Castagna will be better suited to Rome, depending on the outcome of tonight's results. I think they'll be better suited for playing that more defensive role. I think we need to be a bit aggressive and on the front foot against these. So JJ and Ricardo on either side for me.
So no Castagna. We're not going to get down the bench, but presumably
he'd be there. He'd be there. Trust me. Don't worry. Timmy's on my bench. Timmy would be on my bench.
That's fine. No problem. Not a problem. I mean, you play FIFA, don't you?
No. not at all this season. No, well, I tell a lie.
I just didn't know if PAC is pace or not. I don't play it.
Yes, yeah. So they're all shortened down to 3 letters for PAC.
Yeah.
So PAC is his pace.
His pace. So I mean, yeah, like you say, James Justin there's got 82, and the best form of keeping Roma quiet is to attack them and keep, their defenders happy with ours going forward. So the left centre back.
I've gone Johnny Evans. I think in the home leg, you're looking for your experience. He's had it at Manchester United. You know, Leicester have got youth, footballing brains in certain players like KDH and Fofana, but they've got the joys of knowing they've got experience in that dressing room of European nights. And I think it's pivotal, especially at home, where if we mislay a pass, you need that calm, collective head that can mark it out. And for me, Evans is the perfect partner alongside Fofana.
I was going to say, it's obvious who the other one's going to be.
Yeah. And again, that's more for the cultured head and the way he drives with the ball. I think he does it better. I think he does it at a higher tempo. And he does it with more accuracy. And his recovery rate is phenomenal. I mean, we've seen him this time this season where, not necessarily from him giving the ball away, but someone giving the ball away, losing possession. He's 15. The striker or winger's got 15 yards on him. I mean, PSV, that defender, that winger or striker, whatever he was, had 15 yards on him, and he didn't just make up the ground and make a card saving challenge. You see, it was so clean and seamless to get in front of him, and you need that. You need that because that just helps makes Johnny Evans' job a hell of a lot easier. Yeah. And I think we need to be putting Fofana out there. There's no way you don't for me.
It's 2-1 for France at the moment. And Geordie, you didn't have to remind us, did you? Just don't switch off in added time.
No, we're the specialists, mate. It's the most consistent I've ever seen Leicester be.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And I don't think I can get rid of this bit here. Show more stats. No, that's there. It's what it is. Right. So yeah, that's not Schmeichel goal. It's nice to see that we've got the likes of Evans, Fofana, and Piera back. I mean, Fofana didn't play again. He didn't play against Aston Villa, did he?
No, he didn't. And that was quite wise. I think he was clearly resting him for this.
Yeah, and he's obviously, I don't know if it's finished now, but obviously at that time he was fasting, so you've got to let the guy have a bit of a break.
Yeah, and obviously he'll be afforded to be able to eat at some point during this game, won't he? Because I think it's after 8 o'clock. So I believe he'll be able to get something in his system. So,
and I think it's good that we are recognising this because the Premier League is a global phenomenon, and we are getting players from all over the world and different, religious backgrounds. And I think it's good that they are allowing that to happen.
Yes.
Now, this is going to be the question, because normally in that central midfield, central defensive midfield role, I would be putting Mendy at the moment, but of course we can't.
Yeah, and that's so stupid because somebody will have to tell me this. When we were able to re-register when we was able to re-register in the Premier League season, was we not able to do the same at the group after the group stages?
We was, but if you remember, we didn't register for Fofana for Europe because we knew we wouldn't be playing.
Yeah, right.
I forget who it was that had left, that released a place to come up, and it was a case of, I suppose, Mendy or Fofana. And let's be honest with you, you've got to put Fofana in there every time, haven't you?
Well, yeah. That is true.
Yeah, Scott, thank you very much. It was Remy Harrell. You're quite right. Ramp Spencer, thank you very much. That's very bad of me not to know that. Ignorant of me. But Ramadan ends on the 1st of May. But yeah, it's good that they are. Benkovic was released. God,
yes, that was it.
Yeah,
So we had a spot open there.
Cheers, Scott. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and like I say, if it's Mendy or Fofana, you're going to put Fofana in there, and what a good choice it was, you know. So he's going to have Chowdhury in the squad, and what I don't get, and this it's not a sort of a. You see, I'm one of these fans, and I think we should be able to Brad, is that we should be able to criticise the manager and the players without saying, "Well, I want him out of the club." You know, I don't want Brendan out of the club, but yes, sometimes he baffles me. Chowdhury had a great game against Liverpool, and I forget what game was it. The Liverpool game when he was playing in defence, wasn't he? And he came.
No, I think in the Liverpool game he was playing central defensive mid because indeed he was centre back.
Yeah, defence.
Yeah, defensive minded for his midfield duty. Yeah. But he wasn't a part of back four, but he was part of probably that defensive line.
I thought he was, but it's a while ago. I can't.
Maybe he was. Like I said, I know for a fact indeed he was, but I can't remember if indeed he actually had an actual centre back as a partnership. You might be right, Chris, to be honest with you, but yeah, I remember him playing in that game.
I think he was defence because we were at the height of our injury crisis, and Rodgers had come out and gone, "Oh, this guy is unbelievable. He does this, and I'm really pleased." He had his arm around him after the game because obviously we won the game 1-0, and we haven't seen hiding a hair of him since that. Now Scott says for me he'd leave Chowdhury out and have Samori in, but I think Samori is injured, if I'm not mistaken, Scott.
I believe so. Brendan did note it down that the reason they were missing from him and Perez and a few others were missing from them certain games was because of an injury. So he's had a bit of a tough time, hasn't he?
He has, and like I said to you before, I think you can't. Every foreign player that comes in has got to not only get used to a different style of play because the Premier League is different. They've also got to get used to a foreign culture and settle in, and it's a different country. If not, your family aren't always with you. And Fofana, it's like he took to it like a duck to water, but Samari's not, and Daka has a little bit, but not quite. But you've got to give them time, I think.
Yeah, you do. You have to give them. You have to give them time. You have to let them also maybe adjust and settle into the culture of England as well. I mean, he's still young, I believe, as well. He's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
Daka's also very young, and let's not forget. Yes, I know he scored 4 goals in one game. But that was a game matching the calibre of where he's just come from. We didn't sign him from like a Tottenham or an Arsenal or a Man City or anywhere like that. We signed him from the Austrian league, and with the greatest respect, whilst he was doing brilliant there, and we've seen, and obviously our scouting system's seen what he's capable of. Getting tight to that defensive line, getting in behind them, Jamie Vardy-esque. It's exactly what they're looking for. Some players have a more demanding expectation of them than say a Fofana or a JJ is. Fofana and JJ and Luke Thomas as well could probably be counting this. Were probably afforded the fact that they knew they had a couple of games to get it right because there was injuries and no one else could really play that side. So whilst they were still pressured and obviously wouldn't have wanted to play badly, obviously, and they didn't. They played really well. You could argue that they didn't have that immense pressure, whereas Iheanacho's already there. Vardy, before his injuries, was in that squad. So you're already down the pecking order. You're already behind the 8 ball. And again, Brendan probably wants to afford to allow these players to settle in instead of forcing them into the side.
It is. I've actually just found it. No players from either team will miss the second leg if they get booked.
Oh well, that's very good. So let's hope they don't get sent off.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew says this game is too big for Chowdhury. Wasn't the Liverpool game too big for him? And he actually played out of position in that game, and we won it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if too big is the right word. I just think, given the longevity of the gap he's had without being able to stay match fitness, and people might say, "Oh,
totally.
match fitness, mate." You're always saying that. Well, it's part and parcel of football. Even the greatest of players if they go too long without game, aren't going to be up to standard, and especially if you can maybe forgive it if, say, somebody misses 3 games, but they've been playing for the other 28 games of that season. It's a bit easier to contain it if it's just for 3 games. But if you've played 2 games, 3 games here and there dotted around, and 45 minutes in a cup competition, and then you don't do anything for like 8, 9, 10, 12 games, you cannot expect that player to come into any game of any magnitude and affect it in a way that you are hoping for.
I mean, years ago, and I'm going to show my age here, we used to have a reserve team so that players that were sort of subs for the main team would be able to play in that. We don't have that anymore. They've got to sort of be the odd overage player in the under 23s probably. But so like you say, they haven't got that sort of fitness level. And look at Inacho. When he was coming on for 10, 15 minutes here and there, he wasn't doing well when he came on. Suddenly, when he was getting full games, look at what he did at the end of last season. So, anyway, let's have a look who you would put in that central defensive midfielding role then.
Well, actually, I wouldn't put anyone there because I'd make it a flat midfield of 3.
Okay.
I know with every flat midfield of 3, you always have that player that maybe hangs back a little bit, but he wouldn't be sitting in like a V shape. It'd definitely be a flat one, but it'd be like the holding midfielder if you want to, the holding midfielder. And I've just maybe figured a way to get the best out of this team and try something new, so we're a bit more dimensional. And because he for whatever reason, and it's not the central one, it'd actually be on the right side, but because he's been babysitting Mendy, I feel that Youri Tielemans, despite the fact that I would like to see him get a rest at some point and taken out of this team, I think, given the fact that we don't have Mendy available because we forgot to register him, or we weren't able to register him, or whatever, or Brendan didn't want to take someone out.
We were only allowed so many, weren't we, to register?
I can't see him playing Chowdhury for the reasons we've just stated and talked about. So I think he'll put Youri in there as that holding midfield role. Now, I think he'll be on the right of who else is in my midfield, but you can put him in the middle to symbolise that he'll be that holding midfield. It's not particular which side they play really on this one. But
I've got 3 Youri Tielemans here.
Oh yeah, so what they are is their inform cards. You've got an inform card and you'll have some special cards. It's what FIFA do. It's how they get you to spend money on fake imaginary things that people do not do it. People do not do it. By the way, if you've got FIFA, do not spend your hard-earned money on buying these cards. Grind the game out, enjoy it that way, because this is all a load of farcical rubbish that FIFA do. And in fact, some countries don't allow these microtransactions anymore. It's classed as a form of gambling. So please do not invest your wages, your pocket money. Don't do it. Sorry, Chris, I just wanted to get that out there.
No,
that's what you're seeing 3 versions of him.
Yeah, I have. In the last time I played FIFA, I think it was whatever the first one was when it came out on the PlayStation 1.
Oh, 94, was it? FIFA 94?
I can't remember. It was, well, it'll say PlayStation 1. That's how long ago it was. But so, I mean, well, it doesn't matter really which one we pick. Let's put him in there. And I agree, he can't not play Tielemans in this game. But I do feel Tielemans has been playing much too much, But we're in that position now where, if let's be honest with you, if he didn't play Tielemans and we lost, my God, he'd be crucified,
Oh.
Scott says, Brighton, Tielemans, and KDH. Well, let's find out. Who are you going for on the left there?
So on the left, and again, this isn't playing out and out as wingers.
No.
This would allow them to draft. On the left-hand side, I'm actually putting Barnes there.
Okay. Wow.
Now, Barnes has played there before, believe it or not, under Brendan. And we have stressed this point enough that when Barnes is out on the left, he's far too predictable for two reasons. He only makes 2 runs, and that's not actually more on Barnes. That's probably more on the fact that we predictably attack so much down that left side because we favour the strength that teams are able to mark his areas better. Thank you for your interruption, you annoying thing.
Is it the clock?
You annoying thing that I can't get mad at because it's not my clock. Anyway, give me a second while I just drown that out and let it sound it out. But the reason I would put Barnes on the left of that midfield is because he's already in that central role, and then anybody he's running at on a defensive duty for Roma is second guessing whether he's going to go out and try and cross the ball in, or he's going to cut in and drive into the box and take a shot on himself.
Yeah,
I think if he's out on that left, he just can't do that. He can't do that because he's already predicted, well, you're either cutting in or crossing it, mate. Whereas if you're already on that left of the midfield, so you're probably 10 yards from the byline, and you're running at that defender, and we're going forward in attack, and they're trying to get numbers back. You've got people like, oh, what's he going to do there? Because he could go down left and cross it in. And I think that would benefit Barnes becoming more of a left centre midfielder.
Yes. No. I mean, like I say, this is your game. And if there's 3 of them over there, you've got to say if 2 are moving forward, the third one should know to hang back. But I've just got this for you, Brad. No, I haven't. It's not working. Typical. Any of these working? No.
Please stand by. We're having technical difficulties as Chris can't find it.
I was trying to play an alarm sound for you, and none of them are working. Really typical. Right, so I'll have to leave you with the alarm clock. On not necessarily on the right, but the third one in that middle 3.
That's KDH, mate. He's practically cliché, but he's probably first name on your team sheet, isn't he?
I've never yet. Has he ever played on the right though?
No, but again, like I said, I would have put Yuri on the left and KDH in the middle, so you've got Barnes and Yuri either side of him.
Right.
What would happen is Yuri would, when KDH pushes forward, Yuri would either go alongside him or he'd drop behind him. If we get, you know what I mean? He'd mentally take that Mendy role on the defense, but on the attack, Barnes and Yuri operating outside him, which is why I said I'd actually have Yuri, but I kind of made the decision last second, thinking how to get the best out of us as a squad without Mendy being in that midfield.
Right, we don't have a thing for Dewsbury Hall.
Is he a silver card? Is it searching just gold, or can you search silver?
No, it searches everything, I think.
Does it? What a farce.
Is it Kieran? Yeah, because there's Trippier coming up.
It might just be Dewsbury Hall. Is that him there? The silver card up. There he is, isn't
there
he?
He is, yeah.
There he is.
Oh, I didn't put the hyphen in, did I?
Yeah,
oh my God, FIFA.
For it. Yeah.
Oh my God, FIFA. Forgive me, you know.
Yeah, they can be a bit pedantic with searching certain names.
Tell me about it. So
technically, for those watching, to save you having to do it, KDH to be in the middle and Yuri would be the other side of him. If you want to swap them around, you can. It's up to you. But if it's too much of a, I don't know how it is these apps.
How do you change it? Oh,
I think you can do that. There you go. So that's how I'd have them lining up for that role. Because, like I said, Yuri would drop and fill that gap, and he'd go alongside for the attack.
Yes. Yeah. Let's just have a look at.
I'm not cuckoo. That's a very good lineup. There was no need for that.
I realised why it wasn't working. I had it on mute.
Oh, well, who's cuckoo now then? That video.
Oh, I am. I'm definitely this week. I'm having cuckoo.
Well, you've been losing your glasses whilst having them on, mate. So
I know. And the DWP have done my head in this week, I'll tell you. But Scott forgot my forgot my last, I'd have Madison, Tillemans, and KDH, Andrew, or in Chris's case, don't waste your pension. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very, very much. I can block for 5 minutes, you know. Scott says, seeing a game like this, would it not be better to change formation, or as best to benefit the players? I'd personally like to see a 4-4-2 or yeah, this is it. It's all about opinion, Scott. But you know, I've given Brad the opportunity, and this is what he's gone for.
Yeah, I think you don't want to be changing.
You decide whether he's cuckoo or not.
Well, yeah. I mean, if your opinion is that, you're wrong. It's only the voices in my head that are cuckoo. But no, I don't think you want to change too much for this competition. So 4-3-3 has been what we've seen a lot of from Leicester, and that's, we got to remember as well. This is just the layout for how it goes set about. Again, if I was to bring this up as a tactic board, you'd understand maybe the roles that these players would play and how it would change going in attack and defence. But we haven't got 3.5 hours. But I can explain it as best I can for you verbally when we get into these attacking positions.
Well, let's get into these attacking positions then, young Brad. Who are we going for on the left up front?
Well, probably our best winger this season, in my opinion. One of my favourites, if not my favourite. Adamona Lukman.
Not Perez?
I can throw this pen with enough philosophy that it goes through my camera and into your eye, sir, if you start making season marks like that. No, Lukman on the left.
I mean, you're talking to the converted on Lukman. If we don't buy him for 15 million, when that was what we paid for Vestergaard, there is something seriously wrong. I get it. He just didn't. He may be doing well at Marseille, I don't know, but he just didn't work out for us. Lukman, I just think, and he can play either side, and Brendan likes, you know, the utility players. So talk us through Lukman's decision on Lukman there.
Oh, well, this is on Lukman is, if we're going to profess and we're going to persist with attacking predominantly on the left-hand side, you've got JJ, very quick, very good left wing back. You've got Barnes, who shows that when he's given the ball in space, has a lot of pace. So with KDH and Yuri Tillemans and the three in front of him, that left side is lightning quick. You've got JJ for the overlap. You've got Barnes to go out wide. If JJ's blocked off, you've got Barnes to cut in and run at the goal with pace. And then you've got Lukman, who is proved he can play left wing, right wing, up front. He can run that line, and that will make the striker's job, when we'll get to him in a second, a hell of a lot easier, because he's got a run inside. And if you've got three players that don't just frighten midfielders, chasing back midfielders and defenders with their pace, it's what they do on the ball, which if you allow them an inch of space, they'll take a yard and they'll make the most of it. You know, JJ can put a cross in, Barnes can put a cross in, Lukman can drive in, he can drop that shoulder and lay a ball off. They can all do so well. If you're going to insist on attacking down that left side, you might as well have three players that can do the job at every stage of the pitch, whether it's building the attack and getting us into Roma's half, whether it's driving it towards Roma's box, or whether it's to drive from the edge of the box into the goal. If they can do that down that side predominantly, it works. I don't know what Chris is doing there, because I can't hear him. Oh, okay. Okay, wait there. Oh, dear. Right, folks, we're having technical issues with Chris. So, yeah, Lukman, Barnes, and JJ have the same exact style of attributes, and that is their pace, their ability to make runs on the inside and outside, and that just makes us a lot more versatile. Because what Leicester have done, we weren't supposed to do a tactic board tonight, but I'll try and do one for you. Can I do one? Yeah, kind of. JJ, right? Very, very, very one-dimensional when he's got Luke Thomas and a Barnes out on the left. They get a bit one-dimensional, a bit trap-minded down, just playing down the byline. And if you've got Barnes who's had to go into the middle, you then sort of free that up for Lukman to kind of drag a player out wide, or you have somebody who you can directly try and feed the ball through the defence to play the ball through, and that would then put Roma's defence on the back foot and get the ball in behind, and then all of a sudden, instead of, and I'm not going to reveal the name until Chris gets on it, but whoever Brendan goes with in the striker role and the right wing role, and vice versa if you go down the other side, obviously. But for this purpose of explaining, whilst playing in an arch on the left is better than how we have been doing.
Hello.
They can drive into the box and get a latch onto any loose balls. So that's why I've gone for it, Chris. It just makes it easier to be less predictable down that side than what we have been.
Yeah, my microphone, as it always seems to do for some reason, occasionally loses lost connection. So let me just bring up what we'll just. I won't fill it all in again because I'm going to have lost it all. But what I'll do is I will we'll just do the front three again.
Yeah.
No, it saved it. It has saved. Oh my god!
Way.
Good God, what's going on?
I don't know, but you keep crashing it. Come on. Spin that wheel, Chris. Get that mouse
running quicker. Yeah.
There
we go. So, who could believe how lucky we could be? Brad, Scott said, Brad, I think the Seagulls have gone to your head. I know something's gone to my head today, I'll tell you. And Scott says, Brad, with Roma likely playing a very counter-attacking team, surely we should be setting up with a team that has trickery rather than lots of pace down the flanks.
Well, does Barnes, Lootman, JJ, KDH, Yuri not have trickery then, Scott? My suggestion would be we might as well go for them than try and shut up shop against a counter-attacking side.
Yes.
But again, you might be right, Scott. If that's the case, then I'll pass Brendan's number on to you. You can negotiate his release.
Obviously, it's about opinions. We all have opinions.
Of course it is.
I'm very much seeing. I agree where you're coming from with this, Brad, and that's probably the first time we've ever agreed. But joking aside, when you look at how ineffective we were against PSV in that home game, I believe we need to take a lead of some description, and away goals doesn't matter anymore. So if it's 1-0 or 2-1, it doesn't make any difference. But we need to take a lead of some description to Rome for the second leg, and we're not going to get that back without attacking them, because attacking to me is the best form of defence. I know it's an old saying, but I'm an old man, so there we go. So I agree. Lookman, it's got to be Lookman. Mr. Perez on this side?
I'll quit.
He's hiding behind the table.
No, I'm not doing the show anymore. I refuse to do the show. Keep bringing him up. No, it's James Maddison. It's James Maddison we're having there. And the reason I've got Maddison there, right? This is where me managerial hat comes in.
Yeah.
Yes, he starts off out of position, and that would be on a normal press. But what you can afford to do with that, if on that press Yuri's that holding midfielder, KDH and Barnes would spread, then what Maddison could do is he could drop back into his favoured number 10 role and be in the, he could be that man in the middle, as I say, in that 10 role where he could drop into to allow Vardy. Sorry, I've spoiled it. I'll put it up front, but I think it was obvious from what I've talked about him all video. That would allow Vardy and Lootman to then stretch the Roma defence if he was to given that role and become a two-way attack. So we kind of interchange it depending on what we're doing. So yeah, Maddison for me gets in the right. We need him, his creativity, his trickery. That's just to remind you again, 2 players have 25 yellow cards between them, and that one of them players has 22 and is a midfielder. Midfielders notoriously fouling, giving James Maddison a leg in on this game. Very tricky, wins his free kicks. He's pivotal that James Maddison is on that pitch and advanced on that pitch. That's another reason why I incorporated Barnes into the midfield and put Maddison further forward.
I mean, in fairness, Maddison, it doesn't take a lot for him to go down. I mean, he's not as bad as Richarlison. Like I said the other day, I think he he goes down that often. He's sponsored by Love Honey. But yeah, I you're totally right. If he can get us some good free kicks or even a penalty, it would be great. Yeah, Andrew says that all the officials are Spanish for this game. Now, call me psychic if you want to.
You're psychic.
Thank you. And I'm in my Mystic Meg moment. I have a feeling you might be going for Vardy up front here.
So I'm going in the actual up front. Yeah, no, you're right. You're very right. Yeah, you got me, mate. I did.
You had a Chris moment then, didn't you?
Because yeah. The worst kept secret.
Yes. So we know last time he came back and got injured again and had to be off for a few weeks. Would you start him or would you bring him on?
I think you've got to start him again for two reasons. Well, for a number of reasons actually. He's got experience against Mourinho as a manager. He's got experience against some of the players. I mean, he will niggle, wind up, shithousery every player on that pitch that isn't in a Leicester shirt. They will know of their track record, and I'm pretty certain if you want someone in a first leg of a semi-final that's going to be tempered, it's going to be fiery, both teams are going to want to come away with that with, advantage them, so to speak.
Yes.
And you could not ask for a better professional to know how to manage the big occasions like Jamie Vardy. His record against the top six in the Premiership is one of the best. It's quite unrivaled. Yeah. He's played in all these competitions for Leicester at all levels. He's scored pivotal goals in big games, so he's ready made for this occasion. And like I said, with the track record of certain players in pivotal areas for Roma, he gets under the skin. You don't like it. It's the last thing you want. And like I said, if it plays into Leicester's hands and they get an early goal and then they start Roma start trying to take chunks out of him and Vardy gets in the rear winding him up, doing some fancy celebration to mock Roma, then it could cause Leicester. And I know people might say that's bad gamesmanship. Roma would do exactly the same to us. Mourinho did it all the time with his press conference, so I've got no sympathy.
No, quite right. And, I'm not being sort of, let's pick on Johnny Foreigner or anything, but we know that continental clubs are good at that, Man City apparently are 2-0 up, so
who's that?
That's going their way. So I think this is a good team. I mean, it's got a rating. You'll know this more than me. 5-star, but rating of 84 and a chemistry of 95. So it's Schmeichel in goal, Justin, Evans, Fofana, and Pereira across the back four, with obviously Justin and Pereira being given the freedom to go forward. Barnes, Dewsbury Hall, and Tillemans across the left. With you said that's kind of a flat back three with interchanging.
Yeah,
and then Lookman, Maddison, and Vardy up front. With obviously Vardy being the pivot right at the top of the tree, so to speak. I don't think that's a bad side at all you've got there, young Brad.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris. I mean, again, I just think if you want to get your best players onto the pitch and the job they can do, that without having Mendy to put in there and go, because I think if Mendy plays, I would actually drop Barnes because I think he's been very ineffective. I think if you're telling me to choose between your two ineffective midfield or attacking players, which one you're dropping, I'm picking Barnes. Sorry, over Yori. Every day of the week. And who knows, maybe not happen to babysit Mendy for whatever reason. Yeah. Yori will be playing with a bit more freedom. We will see Yori back at his best. If he doesn't, then he has to drop him out of the next matchday squad. I'm sorry, he does. If Yori hasn't
he's been swapping Lookman and Barnes and Lookman for the last 3 games, hasn't he? So so Barnes hasn't looked at his best. You know.
And again, Barnes has played in that centre mid on the left of that midfield 3 before. It's not like he'd be a stranger to him. He's played him on the left. He's played him up front. He's played him there. So I just think that's the best. You get the most mentally forward-thinking players out there, but also the best experienced players that have played a lot of competition time in these things and have played. You know, we've got some players there that have played abroad, so they know the difference and mentor of these leagues. So it would help us massively. And
I just hope, beyond hope, that Brendan doesn't do a Brendan, as in overthink this too much, you know, and try and outthink Jose. You like you say, if this wasn't this game, let's say this was our next game against Everton that we're catching up on, you maybe no start Vardy, but you've got to start with your best team. Go out there. It's better to get a lead and then try and defend it to a point than going behind to a goal and then trying to get back into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like you said, rule changes, pros and cons. No one's ever going to be happy regardless of the rules. But it's one I'm very happy to no longer have a game. There's no away goal rules, like you said.
Yeah.
And people suggested, well, PSV came to Leicester knowing it didn't matter if they didn't score, but it also put them probably at a disadvantage because the result still favoured in Leicester. You know, if they went 1-0 down, it didn't necessarily mean, oh God, no, they've got an away goal. We have to score. We have to score 2 now. Leicester know that they had, as long as it stayed at 1-0, which it did. Leicester always had a chance and they could turn the game. And even if they only got the 1 goal and it was 1-1, they weren't going to get knocked out by some poxy away goal rule, because I've always thought it's unfair.
Yeah, it has. I don't see the thinking behind it. And do you remember, I think it was the first Coca-Cola Cup final we got to under Martin O'Neill. We played Wimbledon. And I think it was just 1-1. And it was 0-0, I think, in the first game.
It was 0-0 at Filbert Street, and then Simon Grayson scored the equaliser in the semi-final.
And we went through on away goals, so just, you know. But also, I totally agree. That is a silly rule. I've never seen why they've done that, because we don't do it every. You know, if we go to Villa Park and it's 1-1, they don't give us the 3 points, do they?
No, exactly. I've never understood it. I mean, I also remember as well, Chris, I think it was a season or 2 after that, you had the bloody aggregates, didn't you? You had the early rounds being over 2 legs, and it was like, what was that all about? And in that sort of competition, I wouldn't like to see it in the FA Cup or League Cup, especially never again. I hope they never, ever come up with that idea to bring back that ridiculous rule, because it's just so unfair. I just don't understand how. For example, let's just say the away goal rule happens, right? Leicester win 2-0 today, do a stellar job. Sorry. How would it work out? Yeah, Leicester win 2-0 and then go to Roma but get beat 3-1. But because Leicester managed to score 1 but conceded 1 more, that's irrelevant, because they scored 1 in Roma and Roma failed not to score a goal at Leicester. Leicester would go through. That's never been fair. If it's 3-1 aggregate, you know, you wouldn't get to penalties and score all 5 and go, well, because you're the away team, you go through, would you? You win the penalty shootout. You wouldn't do that. So I don't know why it was ever ruled, but thankfully we're not in that situation. And like you said, if Roma want to sit back, they'll do it at their peril. And I don't think their manager has ever been the sort of manager. He's a serial winner.
I think if he looks at Leicester, he'll go, it didn't actually work out for PSV. So, you know,
we want to take a lead back to Roma to give us the impetus. That's exactly what they all want.
We're going to have a few more, just to look at a few more stats when we come back. But this is what's coming up at 9 o'clock. Indeed, it's 9 o'clock tonight, straight after this, with Strictly Come Dancing Brad and the Splashes Steve. 9 o'clock, we'll be doing the prediction show for this week, and let's hope we do better than last week. So just to run through a few things here, Brad, let me just bring the first one up. This is what the press have been saying. Joe Terry, a Leicester reporter. European games allow Brendan Rodgers to rotate his squad earlier in the season, but since the Conference League now represents the only chance of silverware for the Foxes, we can expect Leicester to field their strongest side. I mean, obviously, he's not a regular follower of Leicester, otherwise he knows we've been rotating the squad still.
I think he'd also know that he didn't rotate the squad in a way that any manager would have liked to in any competition. Yeah. It was done through injuries. Does this guy follow Leicester?
I don't know. It's on the UEFA site, but it says Joe Terry, Leicester reporter.
He clearly just looked at the team lineups and went, "Oh, they rotate a lot," because that's a very silly statement to make. It was forced rotation, mate. Mr. Joe Terry probably stop having a word with Uncle John about football, because
he does go on to say star striker Jamie Vardy is fit again and will probably start, which is good news for Leicester, who will hope to travel to Rome for the return leg with a healthy lead. Let's see what the Italian press have got to say. Francesco Corda, a Roma reporter. A weekend loss against Inter ended Roma's 12-match unbeaten run in Serie A. Bloody hell. For the first leg of the semi-final, coach José Mourinho should welcome back Brian Cristante and Nicola Zaniolo. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Both absent from the San Siro on Saturday, and field the same team that ended Bodo Glimt's campaign at the Studio Olimpico.
And there you go. An absentee. I can tell you why that Nicolo Zaniolo was there, because he probably picked up a suspension with his 14 yellow cards and 2 red cards.
Yeah. Brendan said, if we finish top 10 and get to a final of the European competition, it would be one of my best seasons as a manager. You've got to kind of say yes, because
I mean, I'm pretty certain that probably one of his best performances as a manager would arguably be that close but no cigar season as Liverpool manager, or making it back-to-back European.
I think because he's not gone well in Europe, I think getting to a final, I think it is quite a big thing. But Jose replies, we are up against a Premier League team, and the Premier League is the strongest national competition in the world. Leicester have won titles recently and compete every weekend at the highest level. They're a very strong team, but we are Roma, and the second leg will be at home in front of our wonderful fans. It's a big stadium. It will be. We thought PSV was a bit of an atmosphere. I think it'll be like the gladiators going into the Colosseum. I think, when we get there. But finally, let's just have a look and go. Scott's come up here. He thinks it'll be 2-0 home win and lose 2-1 reverse. Don't worry about the reverse. What are you going for on this for the first leg, Brad?
You know what? I'm going to go a bit out there. I'm going to say that Brendan gives me a call after the show. He goes, Brad, get here quick so we can talk tactics. And me and Brendan both mastermind a huge win. But I want to say 3-0. I want to say we blow them out of the water. We go at them, hammer and tong. But I say 2-1 Leicester. I say 2-1 because we've never been able to fully shape that type of always conceding.
I don't know if you can see that at all. I've just gone for exactly the same score, 2-1 to Leicester.
Yeah, my heart's hoping for like a masterclass 3-0 and everybody turns up and we're all dancing in the streets drunk that Leicester have won 3-0 and halfway there. But I'd take 2-1.
Yeah. Brad, thank you very much for stepping in. I will see you again in half an hour.
I know, I can't get rid of you.
You can't. I'm like a bad rash. Like an STD. All I can say is, and I can't think which one I want to play here. But anyway, I know, as I said, we'll have a talk after, but it's gone on a bit. I've only got half an hour, and I've got to download and upload and everything. So I'll have a chat with you after the prediction show later. But thanks so much for coming on, mate, and I'll see you in 31 minutes. I think it will be.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
Okay. Thanks very much, mate. Take care.
See ya. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Oh, it's not that far away, and we are in a European semi-final. We're 180 minutes away. I know it's Albania, and I know it's not, San Siro or anything like that, but it's hosting a European final. They say dreams don't always come true. Maybe we've run out with our dreams over the last few years. I hope not. All I can say is, come on, you foxes. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, like I've said before, if you are on YouTube, please remember to do this. Subscribe, hit the like button and smash the notification bell, or the other way around, whichever's easier. And if you have been listening on podcast form, thank you so much for listening. The podcast goes from strength to strength. Really appreciate your support. Tune in again 9 o'clock tonight. Like I say, we've got the prediction league. There's going to be me, there's going to be Steve, and there's going to be Brad, and we'll probably be exactly the same as we always are, and that is useless. See you in half an hour. Good night. Take care. Stay safe.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
That's all, folks.